Tomi Adeyemi has doubled down in separating her name from the Children of Blood and Bone movie. She stated again that she won't watch it, she won't promote it, and she just put the studio on notice saying this is the worst thing I've had to live through.
Meanwhile, a new report says Anthropic has allegedly destroyed millions of physical books just to feed their AI model. The levels of irony to think that the dystopian novel Fahrenheit 451 might have been destroyed to feed a completely different dystopian future.
And finally, HBCU students are fighting back while asking, how do I look in my do-rag? After Tuskegee University enacts a restrictive new dress code. All
that and more on today's episode of the Black and Snerdy podcast.
Adam has arrived. Hey, Maurice and Odie gonna take over like Zach and Cody. Black and Snerdy is the best podcast. Gonna boom like Wile E. Coyote. Gonna be magic, they move like they hairy. Ain't talking about mental health, no, it's not scary. You know that she coming up with the astrology. Mo got a comic and that's the best policy. Maurice the GOAT, talking about animation cause you know. Odie, she moving wavy like the boat. Watching some movies and she taking notes. Yeah, kick back, listen. Black and Snerdy have risen. Upload on a mission. 5 stars, never dissing. Black and Snerdy, ooh. Black and Snerdy, yeah. Black and Snerdy.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Black and Snerdy podcast, the only podcast where two sexy black nerds get together to shoot the shit. I am Mo, aka Kid Licorish.
And I'm Odie.
And together we are the aforementioned Snerds here on episode 198 of the Black and Snerdy podcast.
We're getting dangerously close.
Yes, we are. And once we hit 200, ain't nobody going to be able to tell us nothing.
Ain't no stopping us now.
I'm glad that that's the musical reference that you went with instead of the one that I did.
Wait, what's the one you did?
Can't tell me nothing.
Oh.
Yeah. At any rate, 2 quick questions. One, how are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. You know, just making my way downtown, walking fast, farting. And I'm home now.
Honestly, would have been a better song. Honestly, that would have been a better song and it would have made for a better music video. Just imagine her on that piano, on that car, driving, and just like every 4 or 5 bars.
Crop dusting.
Yeah, just crop dusting that highway.
Boop.
And I'll fart 1,000 miles just to see you.
Oh.
Should have said
Tonight.
PU. But
how are you doing?
I am, as I've been saying for what feels like a good month, or maybe even all summer. I'm tired. I'm very
forever.
I'm very tired. Yeah, forever tired. I don't want to be forever tired. What's it really like to take a long nap? I don't know. Anyhow, but the second question that I wanted to ask you, and I was going to save this for the next episode that we do, is a sort of lead in to our 200th episode. Is there anything that you are excited about in the next 200 stretch? Oh, no, I reworded that. That makes it seem like we're going to do 200 more of these.
We are going to be doing 200 more of these. We're going to be doing 200,
we'll see.
400,
we'll see.
600. We're going to keep going up.
We're
going up, up, up. It's our moment. We're golden.
You know that I love that movie, and you know that I love that song, so that really does put a hole in my sails from the argument that I was about to make. No, do you legitimately see us doing, like, do you see a stopping point for this?
No.
Okay, that's interesting.
We're riding this thing till the wheels fall off, baby.
All right, that's fair.
Do you feel there's a stopping point?
I think there could potentially be. I don't necessarily see it at the moment, but I'm also like not opposed to it stopping. Do you understand what I mean? Like, No.
How dare you?
First off, I love doing this podcast. It is the light of my week to do that. But it also is the I don't want to say bane of my existence.
I mean, look, this is the thing. The podcast is not like we just sit here, we yap, and then we're out. Right?
There's a lot
that goes into it.
There's a lot that goes into the back end of making sure that this comes out to you in a timely manner,
Yes.
In an entertaining manner, and in a consistent manner.
Yeah. But I think look at where we are.
Odie,
look at where we started.
You can't just shove all of my favorite songs in my face as I'm making very reasonable arguments.
I'm just saying that from the start of the podcast to now, we have grown so much, and I think that we have found new ways to streamline things, to make it better, to make it easier. And I think that anything that you want to do, anything that you love, anything that you enjoy. If you
end this by saying in living color, if you say this, that we could do what we want to do in living color, I'm going to scream.
I wasn't, but no, but I think that like anything that you want, anything that you care about, it takes time. It takes hard work. There's nothing that just is like, oh, this is super easy, like barely an inconvenience. There's going to be a little bit of an inconvenience.
Super easy, barely an inconvenience.
I've been waiting. I've been waiting for the perfect moment to reveal that I have that drop.
You know what? Take a shot.
Take a shot.
Take a shot. And that's a great drop. That's a really great drop that you added. Good job. Before we get into the episodes, nerds, make sure you are following and subscribe to the Black and Snerdy podcast wherever you watch or listen.
That's right. You can find our episodes, our social media, our merch shop, and our tip jar all in one place at beacons.ai/Black and Snerdy.
Grab a shirt, check out the sticker sheets, leave us a tip, or share the show with another snerd. Every bit of support helps us keep creating and keeps Mo in his seat over there.
Absolutely. So if you want to hear more of me and you want to hear more of these drops, give us a tip, buy a shirt, or just check out our episodes and share them. That's all I'm saying.
Dollars
is what I need. Hey. All right. Enough with the banter. Enough with the call to actions. Enough with everything. Shall we get into the shits and the shenanigans?
Oh, yeah, let's do it.
All right. It is time for Pop Topics.
When you want to deal without a big deal, what you gonna pick?
Pop Topics. Shall we begin?
We shall. So something that we have talked about previously on the show, we have a little bit of it, I guess, an update or more information has come about.
Previously on the Black and Snerdy podcast.
So we talked a few weeks back about Tomi Adeyemi and the film adaptation for Children of Blood and Bone, The Legacy of Orisha trilogy.
Yes. For those of you who don't know, Tomi Adeyemi is the author and the creator of Children of Blood and Bone. And she was working with the individuals who were creating the motion picture of the adaptation of Children in Blood and Bone. And for those of y'all who were watching the last episode that we mentioned this, I coined this Children of Blood and Groan.
We know. We remembered.
Pepperidge Farm remembers. Anyhow. Yeah. Speaking of long pauses, yeah, so again, just catching everybody up. Tomi, she publicly distanced herself from the Paramount film adaptation of her film. And recently, in a video, she described the production in her own words, which we're going to be playing. And it's just a continuation of her expressing her feelings about the adaptation, about going through the process of adapting her work to the motion screen. And I'll let her take it from here.
I'm going to post this so ideally I won't have to talk about this anymore. And what I'm about to share is not a secret to the people involved. It's a reality that I've had to live with for about a year and a half. And everyone involved, at least at the highest level, has been made aware of this reality. And they haven't done anything to make it better. If anything, they've only antagonized me. And I accept that. But I also accept if I don't say something, I think it's just going to be worse. I'm not going to speak on what I endured to make it through the young adult trilogy. And I'm not going to speak about everything that I also suffered through or endured to make the adaptation a reality. I'm actually only going to speak about what happened after I left that set of my own film adaptation, hyperventilating and sobbing, and there are many witnesses, so it's not really a secret. I came back to America and suffered such severe somatic pain and so many panic attacks, and I knew it was so bad that I would never, ever be able to watch this film, and I made peace with that. But as it is being marketed, and as I'm still being antagonized behind the scenes, which is where I hoped all of this would stay, it's become apparent to me that that reality needs to at least be made known so that you guys can understand how this film, which I worked on to make it a little better for us to be alive, is also the worst thing I've ever had to live through. And I don't wish to speak on it anymore. I don't know if that's possible. I understand that I have a public presence and that this is a global project. It's probably useless posting a video. I really don't know. I don't do things like this. But I also understand that being silent about it is making the pain a lot worse. And even though it feels awful to share this, it's better to share it and have it known and understood before I see a bunch of you for this new book. Please understand, I never want to hear about this project again. I don't have anything to say about the people who made it. I do not care anymore. I'm trying to move on. This video might make it worse, but I don't know how it can be any worse. So I'm just going to share that and let it live.
That was really hard to watch.
Yeah.
I mean,
I wanted to ask you your initial thoughts on seeing that.
I think that for me, if I taking myself out of it, like if I had never read the book, if I had never spoken to her in person and any of these things, watching this video, taking it at face value, I say to myself, either she would have to be the most amazing actress in the world, or she clearly has had something happen to her on that set.
Mm-hmm.
And that is really heartbreaking. And regardless, like, everybody wants to know what happened. Some people have shared online that, like, you know, they kind of get where she's going, but until she is specific and calls out explicitly the people who did these things, they're on the fence. They don't know, you know, who to side with, etc. But I feel like just watching that video and seeing how distraught she was and clearly emotional, that it shows that something did happen. And I think that she is well within her right to say how she feels, to speak her truth about it. Whether she ever tells us what explicitly happened, like, you know, that just could be what it is. It might be frustrating because people are nosy. We want to know what happened. You know, you don't want to support people who are doing wrong or executives who are doing wrong. But I think just as a person, I have sympathy and empathy for her, that after spending all these years working on something so long and hard and being so young when she did all the amazing things that it seemed like were happening for her from this series, to now have it taken such a dark turn, my heart really goes out to her. And sure. I would love if people, instead of just being like, we want the tea, we want to know what happened because we want to kiki about it online, if they could also remember that she is still a person, you know, instead of just like making fun of her and saying like, oh, well, these long pauses, you must really be trying to push your acting chops or things like that. Like, she's a person, she's a human being. She has feelings about something, and whether or not you would have done the same thing, whether I would have done the same thing, is a moot point. It doesn't matter. What matters is that she is speaking about something that happened. And for all these conversations where we talk about believe women and, you know, support people who are in creatives and all this stuff, to act like she could just be making this up for shits and gigs, I find that very disheartening. And I'm sad at the whole affair because it's just very disappointing.
Right. So when we spoke about this last time, in the previous episode that we addressed this, I sided with the creators. I'm always on the side of the creators of the source material. I mean, not always, like fucking certain turfs out there making wizard movies. But I tend to side with the creators when it comes to how adaptations are played out, produced, and put up on the big screen, right? Here's the thing. I am curious as to what went down, but more importantly, I am curious about why there is a level of vagueness.
Yeah.
I don't, here's the thing. I don't like to speculate. I don't like to fill in my own headcanon, my own, theories, or posit my own narrative onto somebody who is suffering.
Yeah.
I don't like doing that. And I don't want to do this with this amazing creator who made amazing works of art in the form of literature. I don't want to do that. So it makes it very difficult and challenging to have this discussion because everything that is being said from her is still relatively vague. I don't blame her for that because, again, this might be filling in blanks and this might be headcanon. I can see a world where she signed some NDAs where she can't talk about this for 5, 6, 7, 10 years. And then by that time, people have moved on. People don't care about it or anything like that. And then at that point, whatever. I can see a person who was very affected by whatever happened during this process trying to work within a realm that limits what she can say and how she can say it, but still being a creative mind wanting to express herself within those constraints.
Yeah, and I definitely think, from same as you, that in my mind there must be some kind of legal PR reason or whatever as to why she is not explicitly saying so and so did this. Now, for me, the main reason that I do hope eventually she feels safe enough to and has the ability to share is because of the fact that this crew, the cast and crew, are amazing. So many great actors and actresses.
Absolutely.
The director, we know these people's bodies of work. We love them.
The film is made of very talented Black talent, both on screen and behind the scenes. Also, Amanda is there.
Catching strays all the time. But I think that that is where my curiosity comes from, because I would feel devastated to know that Viola Davis was being a meanie, like a mean girl or something like that. And so she does say in her video that she mentions the top executives. So when she said that, I was thinking perhaps it's the Paramount executives or people that are higher up or whatever like that, and less of the crew or the cast of people that she was working with. But coming as an author who has never written an adaptation of this, especially of this magnitude, and also being so young when all these things started playing out, I could completely see a situation where she was told that she's going to have certain power. She has this vision she has in her head, and she's worked it all out. She gives it to them and is like, here, now work your magic. And she's assuming she's going to have more power, and she does not. I do hope like she has said herself, because in her comments, someone was asking, like, so for the fans, should we not see the movie? And she said, I'm never going to tell anyone to not see the movie. That they should go and support it if you want.
That is contractual statement if I've ever heard anybody.
You think
like
so?
That reads to me as someone who is like, hey, I can't tell you don't see this thing contractually. What I can tell you is you are a human being with agency and you can do whatever you want. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that could be it. I mean, I think that for me, the reason why I have watched after watching the trailer, because after we had our previous episode, the stills came out. I was kind of giving a little bit of side eye, a little bit, because I was like, what is this going to look like on film? It's giving kind of Black Panther. And I've thought about that a lot. And I've thought about some of the ways that I feel like they have pushed together the story to not be a fantastical Nigeria, and it's just like they're just pushing Africa, all the countries together, and saying like this is the story, which for me feels a little bit bothersome because I have the book right here.
Sure.
The first page, when you open the book, is a map of Nigeria. It says Lagos right here. It says it right there.
So
the book is about Nigeria, just a fictionalized magical version. But there are so many people who, when I'm reading these stories, are like, oh, it's okay if it seems that like the dialogue and the clothing and the aesthetics don't seem super Nigerian. Like they're not thinking about that because some people did not see it as a fictionalized Nigerian country. They're thinking of it like Wakanda.
Sure. Would you say that
that is a little bit upsetting?
It is.
Final thoughts.
My final thoughts are I want this movie to do well because I know that one, amazing cast. I have some problems with some of the casting, but overall, great cast. And we do not have Black, specifically African fantasy series that are getting made with these huge Hollywood productions, except for Black Panther. And Black Panther, Wakanda is not a real place, right? So it's not real. I want to see a Afro-futuristic, a Afro-fantasy magical story taking place in a African country, and I want to see that do well so that more stories like this can be put up on the big screen. And I am saddened that even with all of the excitement that I've had for this movie to come out because of how much I loved the book, that there's a dark cloud over it, and I can't have the joy that I once did, because even if I don't know what happened, it's still casting a little shadow. It's a little cloud over it for me.
Sure. For me, honestly, if anything, I'm doubling down on my previous stance. I stand with the creator. I never finished the Netflix Witcher because the creator of The Witcher was like, yeah, they went a whole different direction and didn't like my input.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't like the Last Jedi and the rest of the Star Wars sequel trilogy because of how dirty they did Mark Hamill, even while it was on record that he was saying, hey, I don't think this character, Luke Skywalker, that I portrayed, that I have, embedded the values into my own DNA, would be doing these things. And then they completely did that. So he was like, all right, it's Jake Hamill that's on the screen. Jake Hamill. That's not Luke Skywalker. That's Jake Skywalker. You know what I mean? That's not,
Yeah.
Seeing this video made me realize that like whatever happened, and this is not me speculating, whatever happened to Tomi affected her so deeply that she wants absolutely nothing to do with this project. She does not want to talk about it. She does not want to mention it. She doesn't want to promote it. She's not happy with it. Personally, I'm going to go her route and say, I have not watched the trailer. I'm not going to watch the trailer. I'm not going to go watch the movie. I'm sure you will love to go watch the movie, and that's perfectly fine with you, and that's perfectly okay. It's absolutely okay. I'm not going to support that movie, and I'm not going to support the thing just because of how deeply it seems to have affected the creator, because I side with the creator. And that's not me saying that, oh, I side with the creator and you don't side with the creator. That's not me saying that at all. I'm not throwing Odie under the fucking bus in case anybody wants to clip this and be like, oh, he fucking threw her under the fucking bus and made himself look good. That's not what I am saying. I am personally saying when it comes to the creators of the source material, I personally side with the creators of the source material. And this is a very unique situation where the creator of the source material, while still not being specific and while still not being direct, has expressed discomfort with the final product that is being promoted and is going to be on screen. That personally is enough for me to say, I'm not interested.
I just hope that Tomi is okay and she can find a way to heal from this. And I look forward to reading her new book, Siren, when it comes out in September.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's just a little bit upsetting.
That is a little bit upsetting.
And now moving into something that is also a little bit upsetting.
More upsetting book news.
Oh shit, there's a whole theme. It's almost as if this episode has been tailored, crafted for optimal viewing. Almost thematic, you can say. Anyhow, next we're going to be talking about Anthropic fucking up books. And this is what I put. Do you get the reference?
Yes, I do.
Thank God, because I don't read books. I'm not the book person of the podcast, so I thought this was clever.
It was clever.
And I got the thumbs up from the person.
It was. So basically, Anthropic is in some hot water after reporting has found that it destroyed millions of books tied to training their AI. And so we are now having a literal book burning controversy on our hands, which is, it's raising some questions and some alarms, both legal and ethical. Is this ever okay? Is it okay for a company to buy books, upload them, chop up their spines and all that, upload them into their data centers, and then burn them?
Oh, this is what I will say. It's hard to resell a book when you destroy it. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's kind of hard to like go into a Walden's or a Borders, or the third one that I can't remember. What was the other? Barnes and Nobles. Yes. I was never a Barnes and Nobles gal. Really? No, I was a Borders.
I like both of them.
Borders. They had anime and manga. Barnes and Noble was too like, we're Starbucks. We're in every single mall. We don't believe in fucking manga. Eat a dick. But what I don't understand is the method that the books were destroyed, or the method that was used to upload the information to the AI model. You know what I mean?
So, okay, this is from what I've read.
Yes, from what we've gathered.
Is that because books pre-AI, pre-ChatGPT, all those books,
physical books,
all of those books, that information is untainted, right?
Sure.
Now, the problem that all these AIs are having is that it's gathering information from the internet. All of that can possibly jumble up information. That's why when they talk about the hallucinations, etc.
Mm-hmm.
So they've been putting these books into the AI. So they chop off the spines.
Mm-hmm.
They have a little thing to scan each of the pages. It uploads into their data servers, and they're able to use that to train the AI and have it learn and be better.
Sure.
And so from my understanding, the legal reason why they burn them is so that they only have one copy, because then otherwise it could get into some copyright issues.
Sure, yeah. There's like usage and copyright that they have to work around.
So this is not the first time there's been there has been lawsuits around something like this.
Sure.
So in the article I was reading, there are several mass book scanning situations that have been in court. So in 2015, you had the Authors Guild against Google. Google copied about 4 million books, which were scanned for search. If you ever used Google Books, you probably used that part. The Bartz v. Anthropic, which were millions of print books that were cut up and scanned. That was 2025. Also shown that was legal. Then the Bartz v. Anthropic for pirated books, over 7 million files from pirate sites. That was deemed illegal, and they had to pay $1.5 billion.
Mm-hmm.
And then Kadrey versus Meta, books used to train Meta's models, it was found legal. So in all of these cases, the only one that I noticed that they were destroying the books is with Anthropic. And the unfortunate thing is now that Anthropic is doing this, it's also doing the service for other AI models as well.
Yeah.
And I just think
it's learning. It's growing. It's spreading.
Have seen this both in real life. We know that they burned a bunch of books because they didn't want people to have information.
Sure, we know that parents in the 90s burned a bunch of Harry Potter books because they thought it was witchcraft.
We know that, like in dystopian novels, markedly Fahrenheit 451.
Yeah.
The whole premise of that book is that the firemen, they look to find illegal books, which are physical books, which are now illegal, and they burn them because they have uploaded all these books online. You have all these summaries, and that's what you can get. And I don't understand how, when these things happen, how no one's like waving the red flag. And I don't know if it's my ADHD pattern recognition, but this is not a good road to go down, because some of these books are like rare books out of print or whatever. They're buying the only freaking copy. That means even if you say, oh, it's scanned and now we're going to have that copy forever, sure. But a scanned book could also potentially be altered
or flawed on the back end,
and one thing, and I
or
know,
misinterpreted on the front end.
And one book that I think is a special example of this is the Bible.
I was gonna jump in and say the Bible just as a joke,
but it's literally
it is true. Yeah,
there's a reason we have so many verses, so many versions. The King James Bible, we know, finding out later on that King James was possibly illiterate.
Yeah.
He was a shit person, a fuckboy to the nth degree.
I've been saying this for years, that King James. Oh, wait. No, we're not talking about LeBron.
No, not
You're
that.
saying
that he changed things. He removed parts of the Bible. He rewrote and mushed things together. And those are things that we know. This book is years old. However long we've had the Bible, we know it's old. It's been changed. We've had all these different versions, and that's how we are where we are now in like religion, because you see all these people have had a bastardized version. Who knows? Those people during slavery times, when they had the Bible that was saying like, yeah, God wants you to be a slave because you're black. Like, it's amazing. Like all the Mormons and their evil black, the evil black people. Like, we know how this could happen with and without technology. So the fact that we are in a space now where people are finding these legal loopholes, because once you buy a book, it is your book. You could do whatever you want with it. And there's nothing to stop these huge corporations with all this money from buying up all these books, doing what they want with them, and then everyone else having to hope and pray that the information that they are getting if they're reading that book online is true.
Okay, so I'm going to go on a small mini rant.
Okay, I love it.
So here's the thing. I will preface by saying this. I'm not a reader. Different from being fucking illiterate like a good portion of America right now, who's functionally walking around illiterate.
Well, you're not a book reader, but you do read every day.
I read every day, and I'm not a book reader. Like, that is not the format
but
that
you read
I
articles and
get.
stuff.
I read articles, I read manga. Like, and some people will be like, oh, but that's picture books and everything like that. Yeah,
there's words.
Yeah, one, there's words, and two, there's heavy themes in those manga that explore all sorts of various systems of power and individualized themes and storytelling elements that exist within the written word.
And reading is reading.
And reading is fucking reading. This is what I will say. I don't describe myself as a reader, but I am a strong proponent of physical media, and I'm a strong proponent of the belief that everything that has existed in history that has told us that any form of destruction when it comes to physical harm to books, every one of those have been on the bad side of history. Like you said, the Mustache Man group, all of the individuals in history who have collectively gathered to physically burn books, to physically ban books, to physically take the physical idea of the written word and sharing language and sharing thoughts and sharing stories and sharing themes. Like, everybody who has been on that side of suppression and destruction has always been on the bad fucking side.
Yeah.
So extrapolate that to Anthropic, who, just because they are saying that they're doing it for a noble cause to save these things, to guess who also did that? That is the thing that Brainiac did in Superman. I'm not sure if you're familiar with Brainiac from Superman, but I'm going to give you a Cliff Notes version. Cliff Notes being the thing that Anthropic might be leading us to, which is also fucked and not good. But Brainiac is a Superman villain who essentially, he is a AI machine that essentially downloads all the data that exists from a planet, stores it forever, and then destroys that planet. We are creating fucking Brainiac in this shit. Like, this is it seems like every fucking week, in small ways, in incremental ways, we are leading towards either Terminators or Brainiacs
or Parable of the Sower.
I'm losing my voice, but we are moving towards various versions of dystopia. Why are we actively doing this? It's actively upsetting. It's more upsetting than just the drop of it's a little bit upsetting. It's more upsetting.
Well, you know what? As my therapist said to me after I was reading Parable of the Sower, and I was so distressed because there were so many themes that were matching what was going on in the book, and I was just like crashing out, like, I don't want to live in a dystopian society. I'm so scared. This is terrible. Da 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 da. And she was like, that we have been in a dystopian society ever since Europeans decided to steal people from another country, continent, bring them over to a separate continent after enslaving and dealing with the people on that continent to bring more folks over to deal with and enslave and force into all these various terrible things. We have been in a dystopian society since then.
Yeah.
We are just currently, I feel like right now we were in a long time of the fuck around portion
Yeah.
of the timeline.
Mhm.
Now we're in the find out portion of the timeline. That's the worst fucking portion.
Yeah, absolutely
Because
right.
now it's like, not only for me, it's like we have all this information to go back and look and see what has transpired over and over and over again. And you would think that we would have learned something, but we haven't, and we keep making the same mistakes over and over and over and over and over again.
Absolutely. Final thoughts.
My final thoughts are, I feel vindicated in all of my book buying because I think that all of us need to buy and use more books. We need to go to the library because the library is hopefully will be the last bastion of safeguarding literature. And we need to ensure that we can figure out how to make it so that companies cannot do illegal bullshit through legal loopholes that will cause the further destruction of our society, because AI is never going to be able to give you the feeling that a book gives you when you finally get to that chapter and realize the protagonist has fallen in love and they finally get together, or there's this dramatic scene or revelation or whatever. We need books. We need them in their physical copies. You read better, you learn better, you comprehend better when you have your physical books. So please go out and buy more of them. Share them with your friends. We need to have more people using physical media so that nobody will ever be able to tell us that enslaved people were just volunteering. What about you?
Honestly, when you talk about we're in the fuck around and find out portion of life, I don't think we are in the we've lived for a long time in the fuck around part. And you say that we're in the find out part. Here's the thing. The danger is not living in the find out part. The danger is in living in the find out part for a long period of time while simultaneously everybody collectively has thought that we have been living in the fuck around type.
Yeah.
And honestly, at this point, I just fall back on my fucking nihilism and I'm just like, in the dust of this planet. That's where I just go into.
Well,
one of the actual last books that I read 3/4 of. I did not finish it. I will admit I did not finish it, but I bought it and I was super into it. But I was still doing stand-up comedy. And I finished 3/4 of In the Dust of This Planet. It's a really good read. I have the physical fucking copy. So I'll just leave it there.
All right.
I'll leave it there. Now for something still upsetting, but at the very least upsetting in a way that we can, call attention to. Odie, explain to us what's going on with Tuskegee University. Also, title. Okay.
Take off your old grave on it. This past week, the Tuskegee president, Dr. Mark A. Brown, sent a letter to parents of incoming students saying that there is going to be a period of transformation and renewal for its largest new student enrollment in 32 years. The university has given a new dress code, which requires students to arrive on campus prepared for professional settings. So in the message, he said students should wear business suits and appropriate shoes for business meetings and other professional occurrences. Students will not be permitted to wear revealing clothing in classrooms, dining spaces, or official university settings, such as convocation. Bedroom shoes, bonnets, and do-rags will also be prohibited in classrooms and the cafeteria. And there are also some rules in regards to attendance, cell phone usage, getting internships, and developing resumes before graduation. The president has done this under the guise of being professionally ready once they leave Tuskegee. Now, this has been a huge conversation online because there are some people who are like, yes, this is amazing, we need standards. And there's other people who are calling it out for respectability politics. For me, I think that it is definitely a respectability politics situation.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I 100% agree. We need to have standards at school, right? But I don't think that a student coming to class at 8 a.m. or 5 p.m. really is reducing their learning if they're wearing a bonnet, right? If they're wearing pajamas. Because I remember when I used to visit my sister at her PWI, they would be going to class looking any which way, right?
Mm-hmm.
When I got to Howard, I remember going school shopping. And this is when Steve & Barry's was still a thing. I don't know if you ever had Steve & Barry's in Maryland. But you could go there. It was very cheap clothes. It was very like college-centric jerseys and all that stuff. And I went there with the I'm not saying that right. I went there with the clear understanding and belief that I was going to be going to school in very like dressed down clothes because I had spent all of my school years in uniform. So you're wearing dresses and slacks and jumpers and all that. And I didn't want to do that anymore. Then when I got to campus, I saw like, oh, everybody got that shit on for the most part. Like there were lots of girls who I'd be going to my 8 a.m. class. They're in heels, full makeup, the whole 9 yards. Of course, the School of B, they always had very specific standards. If you're going to your School of business classes, you had to have a suit and all this stuff. It didn't matter what the temperature was. But there was never anybody like policing what I wore. And at the end of the day, that was a decision that I made. I feel like maybe around my late sophomore, junior year, I said to myself, well, I want to be able to go to different things on campus because there'd always be like some sort of dignitary or a speech or something happening. I didn't want to go there with just like jeans and t-shirt or pajama pants or sweatpants on. So I decided, I'm going to start dressing up a little bit more, but that was my choice.
Sure.
And I think that as much as we should have standards, like if you're having a job fair, wear your business attire. If there's a convocation, you wear business attire. But going to class, I'm going to class to learn. Nobody should be looking at me to tell me that I look good or not good. I'm just there to learn. Having no cell phones in class, for sure. We don't need the distraction, right? But why is it always that Black people have to be set to a completely different standard than our peers? Because if you go down to Georgetown, the kids are wearing whatever they want to wear and nobody is looking at them any differently. No one's treating them any differently. And they're not having professors policing what they're wearing. And I could bet you if you looked at this dress code, the people who are going to be policed the most are the Black women on campus. And that's just generally how it goes. The moment you start policing the clothing of folks, it's always going to be women who are hit the hardest.
I see. You're probably not gonna like where I'm gonna come from this. But I am going to stand in what I'm about to say.
Stand on it. Stand on business.
Here's the thing. I do think that there is some merit in what is happening at Tuskegee. I do think what they have in place right now is very extreme. It is a very blanket thing to be like, any campus activity, you need to be like dressed and primp and proper in fucking conservative wear. Like, that's how I read it. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like not in the class, not in the study hall. Not, you know what I mean? Like, I don't think that it needs to be that level of conservatism that like is reminiscent of what the 40s and 50s, that our parents would just be like wearing dress suits when they went to the pool hall. You know what I mean? I don't think it needs to be that way. However, I do understand the extreme reaction to a extreme pendulum swing that seemingly has gone the other way. I think that you and I had a relatively healthy balance of our upbringing, where when we were younger, elementary to, let's say, high school, it was, you know, we're hood adjacent, but we went to fucking Catholic schools and parochial schools and private schools and stuff like that, where we were forced to wear uniform clothing. And then from there, we got to experience the other extreme of our own personal freedom of wherever and whatever we wanted to wear. Right. And then from there, we decided, after those two periods were our base, we built from there in our own adult life. I think what has happened is that the generation that is currently existing, spent some time in the pandy where they literally spent several years just wearing home clothes and comfort clothes while learning. Didn't get the foundation of dressing for appearance, right? Or dressing for professionalism, or dressing for the social and societal or professional framework that was school, right? Combine that with all the other elements of the failings of the education system in America, and you do get a product of some 18 to 20-year-old kids who don't have a level of, I would say, societal professionalism baked in. I think that from their experience, they are a specific set of extremes, and it is being met by Tuskegee with a certain level of extremes. I think that there's a happy middle that can be figured out and can be, merging those two ideas to find a happy medium. I just see this as a reaction to an already established extreme. Is it fucking, what do you call it? Respectability politics? On a lot of levels, absolutely it is. But I do see it as a overcourse reaction to something that already exists. I'm literally talking to somebody who is, and I love you and I appreciate you, and this is not a dig at you, but you are literally the embodiment of freedom. And by the embodiment of freedom that you have established, you are literally a nightmare for corporate work.
But this is the thing. My freedom, I know that I 100% push back on so much that I consider respectability politics. I have fucking pink hair. Like, no one's gonna tell, because my hair does not tell me or you how good of a worker I am.
It, on some levels, does.
It does. This is the thing. It
does. It actually does. Like, not. It doesn't tell you the full story, but it does tell you enough information to.
It tells you that I don't care about what you might think about my hair.
But that is enough.
But I think that there's always going to be a space where I feel like we have appropriate dress for whatever. Right. I'm not going to go to the beach in a sweatsuit. Right? I'm not going to go to a gala in a sweatsuit. But if I'm walking around, hanging out with my friends, sure. And I think that teaching students that is more important than saying like, oh, you can't be here if you don't have a suit. Because for one, when you think about students who are at HBCUs and other colleges, but specifically HBCUs, how many of them might be first generation? How many of them might not have necessarily the money to go out and get a whole entire new wardrobe of whatever you deem as respectable? If you want your students to wear specific things as a university, you know what you could do? You could add a uniform, put that uniform as a cost in the tuition, give them that uniform, and then that's what they wear.
But and I think that's where you work from the extreme to a happy middle ground. Like,
yeah, for sure.
Like you just
because,
posited.
Like growing up, I know for me, we had play clothes.
And we had our Sunday clothes.
We had our Sunday clothes.
And we had our school clothes.
And we had our school clothes. But then we also had like the middle between, okay, if we're going to the mall and to Applebee's, you could still wear your jeans and a t-shirt, but it needs to be like a nice one, right?
Yeah, sure.
Compared to if we're going to go out to dinner at a nice restaurant.
We had levels of clothing dedicated towards specific.
And so I think that's fine to give these students awareness, because maybe whether they're coming in with it or not, to give them that awareness. But I think that to blanket everything that these students do, I can't go to the dining hall in my bonnet.
Yeah,
that's crazy work to me.
And as I said, I think that is working in a extreme environment that can be worked down to find a happy middle. Final thoughts on this.
My final thoughts is I push back on this because I think that saying that you can only teach your students how to be professionals by restricting what they wear is silly. And I think it is a demonstration of being underneath the white gaze and trying to compare yourself to white people and what they're doing and what they're wearing. But even still, it doesn't work because we know when we look at PWIs, they're not walking around in blazers and suits or whatever. Like, that's just not what people have done for the past 30 years, right? And this is not adding to the experience, but it could be pushing students away who may not have it to be able to always have their hair done in a certain way, their clothes looking a certain way, and being able to constantly re-up to be able to have the standards that you want.
I hear that. For me, I think that this is as a blanket thing, as a blanket effort, too extreme. If it is ultimately a negotiation to work towards a happy middle, honestly, I'm for it. I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it as a necessary extreme to negotiate to something more reasonable. But I'm not okay with it as just being the thing, the lay of the land, the law, because that is way too extreme. The pendulum has already just been on this extreme. It doesn't need to fling to the other extreme. There is a happy medium that I think can be taught to the next generation.
I agree.
All right. Well, that has been our pop topic.
When you wanna have deal without a big deal, what you gonna pick?
Pop topics. All right. It's been fun. It's been shenanigans. It's been laughs. It's been learning. But at the same time, we're mad. We're annoyed. We're pissed. We're frustrated. We're kerfuffled. We're broke, quite frankly. We're poor. And we're poly market betting on the range of what the temperature is going to be for that day levels of poor. And that is frustrating enough. It's extremely more than just a little bit upsetting. It's making us big mad.
Bring it. What? We grind it. We're not grinding anywhere else. We grind it. This is place for a future. We grind it. We ain't grinding anywhere else. We grind it.
Odie, what's making you big
this
mad?
week?
I already finished it. I finished it before you finished the thing that came out of your mouth. So you tell me, what's making you big mad this week?
Fine.
And also I do that because you go long and I have to adjust. If I go long, you will not adjust. If you go long, I will adjust. So you have to go first. What's making you big mad this week, Odie?
So, Howard is in the news again.
And not for the reasons you'd like.
Not for the reasons I'd like. Okay. I am a proud bison. HU.
You know?
And I hate when we get into the news for foolishness and shenanigans.
Sure.
So I think it's this past week, there was a TikTok that was going viral from a student who had applied, got in, was all set to go to Howard in the next few weeks, but got an email stating that they had been unenrolled due to lack of payment. And it turned out there was like 500 students who had been unenrolled due to lack of not paying. And so there's a few different things about this that are frustrating.
But pick a few. Pick a few of the few.
So, number one, from what I have read and researched and talked to Howard folks about, one of the things that happened was that parents had been getting email communications since March saying that you need to have your scholarships or your deposits, etc., ready by X amount this date. I think it was July 15th. And if not, then unfortunately your place will be removed. So that's one part. The second part of it is that because it's Howard and because haters gonna hate, so many people have been taking this opportunity to disagree, lambaste, flag Howard for not being this great university, et cetera, and wanting to talk out of school about whether or not students should go there and all that. And I think that as a Howard grad who has survived the A building at literally almost every year that I was there, I feel two ways. Number one, if this communications had been sent out and parents were not responding to them and calling the A building and all that, then that does give some onus on them as to why this situation happened. Two, Howard's administration needs to work on just so many logistical issues that have been happening when we were there and prior. There's a lot of things that get left in the dust, and that's an issue. And it needs to be worked on. But my main problem is people who, whenever an HBCU does something, especially when it's Howard, to try to use that to say, well, this is why I'll never go to an HBCU, and this is why my kid will never go to an HBCU. You couldn't get in. Okay? You couldn't get in. You hated from outside the club. All right? And HBCUs, regardless of where they are and how prestigious they are important. We need them, and we have to do our jobs to ensure that they can work as effectively as possible. But just because they have a mistake or an issue, that does not mean that we should just throw them out with the bathwater. That's it.
Sure.
Now I've said my piece. What's making you upset this week?
30 seconds on the clock. Let's see what I can fit in. I'm going to keep this very short. I am not a fan of people who feel as though they have a better grasp on a situation than I do when I am the one who has more information about the scenario. I'll just put it that way. I'll just put it that way. It bothers me specifically when not only do they speak from a point of knowledge and understanding that they do not have, but they ridicule me for having the experience and the information that I do have. I am not a fan of that, and it bothers me and it upsets me. And when they are found out wrong and they don't apologize or they don't acknowledge it, I just roll with it, because in my heart of hearts, I know that's right. And that's what's making us big mad.
Bring it. What?
But we don't like to end things on just the things that are upsetting us, because we contain multitudes. We are not monoliths. We are, I was about to say we're memorials. We are magnitudes.
We are farmers.
Bum, 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 bum. Because we are happy.
I'm the baby merchant. Tots are us. I give you service and no damn fuss. Here's the baby merchant. Just a week or two. I'll have your baby for you.
What's making you happy
this week? I said it. I said it.
I will. As always, I like to say that what's making me happy this week is doing this podcast with you. And despite the fact that I already have a built-in doomsday countdown clock of when this shit will end, but I will say also, I have found a nice little mini hobby of, honestly, I'm working out, trying to see if they can get us sponsored, but if they do ultimately reply back to my fucking emails, there's a nice little thing that is giving me some bits of money to, complete tasks and shit. And I'm just trying to figure out some sponsoring shit.
Right.
And I don't want to say the name, because if they're not gonna fucking sponsor us, I'm not gonna promote them. Anyhow,
That's right.
what is making you happy this week, Odie?
All right. What's making me happy this week? It's pretty simple. Law and Order has finally put the newest seasons on Peacock.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks.
And I'm very happy. Well, they put it they first put the missing seasons on Netflix, so I could watch those, and now I can finally watch the new seasons that are on Peacock, because I've been very annoyed, because for years I had watched up to season 20, and they didn't have season 21 to 25. They put those on there, and now I can catch up. And now I'm finally in the new stretch. So we have new ADAs. Actually same ADAs, but new police officers and things like that. We are getting through the story, and I am happy about that, because I've been waiting. Now, Law and Order is not my favorite compared to SVU, of course. But if I'm gonna watch some propaganda, I want it to be the propaganda that I want to watch. So that's what's making me happy.
All right, and that is everything that's making us happy.
Wait, there's more. Doing this podcast with you,
Yes,
makes me happy every week. It is the highlight of my week.
absolutely.
And no matter how much work goes into it, it always makes me so filled with joy to get to sit here with you each and every week, sometimes twice a week, and chat about different things that are going on in the world, in our lives, and get to hear your thoughts and your responses, because I love talking to you. I love
I do love talking to you. And that's not pulling teeth. I legitimately do. She's my favorite person to talk to. Odie, you are my favorite person to talk to. You're easily top 5, not 4, not 3, not 2. And I can easily say that is not even hyperbole. You're my favorite human being to talk to.
Well, same. And so I am always very happy to do this. And I'm also happy to just be able to spend time with you.
All right. And honestly, I agree with that as well.
All right. That's it.
I do not believe I'm her favorite person to talk to.
My favorite person.
I believe that I'm her 5, but I don't think that I'm her favorite person. Number 1. No, at best, I'm top 4, not 4. I'm 3rd. But I don't think that I'm number 1.
Well, that's just not true.
I don't think you do enough to prove. Anyhow, so with that being said, that is everything that is making us happy. That's our time for today. Thanks you for watching and listening and spreading the word of Black and Snerdy.
Before you go, subscribe to the Black and Snerdy podcast, leave us a rating or a review, and share the episode with another snerd.
You can also support the show by shopping for our shirts and sticker sheets and leaving a contribution in our tip jar.
Everything is available at beacons.ai/Black and Snerdy, including the merch shop, tip jar, episodes, and all our social media pages.
Look, y'all support helps us continue creating conversations about nerd culture, pop culture, mental health, nerd culture, fandom from our perspective.
Until next time.
Take it easy. Keep it sleazy.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening, nerds.
Keep the show growing. Listen, comment, and download on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, or watch full episodes on YouTube.
Follow the show at Black and Snerdy.
Follow me at Licorish is Legit.
Find me at That'sOD_E on Twitter and at That'sOD.E on Instagram.
This is the Black and Snerdy podcast,
where nerds of a feather flock together.